For the last couple years, I have been on the verge of ultralight. My base weight has been sitting at about 11.5 to 12 pounds. But in 2023, I made a massive push and we have gotten under the 10-pound limit. I'm officially ultralight. And I thought I would go through my bag and kind of show you guys what I'm going to be carrying on my backpacking trips going forward. A couple pieces of gear we're not going to talk about in this video. I'm not going to go over anything that I use for filming any of my YouTube content when I'm out on trail. This is just specifically going to be my backpacking gear. I'm also not going to include any of my worn clothing or my trekking pole. I don't really consider my trekking pole part of my base weight, as I'm going to be using this throughout the day. And that's also going to include the weight of my little tripod rig that I've got set up here on the trekking pole. To start it off, we'll talk about the stuff that's kind of on the front of my pack. I've got my DeLorme InReach unit. This is just one of the old original InReach units from DeLorme. And as well, I've got my bear spray on the front. I don't have any weights for any of this gear off the top of my head, and I don't have a cheat sheet with me, but in the description box of the video, I will put a link to my lighter pack list that's got the weights of all of the gear that you're gonna see in this video. The only other thing that I'm gonna be carrying on the front of my bag is in one of the hip belt pockets, probably the left side one, I'm gonna have my little Dyneema trail wallet. This is from Hartford Gear Co. This is where I'm gonna store my license, my credit card, a little bit of extra cash, and my car keys. Now with my pack off, let's talk about the backpack itself a little bit. I'm gonna be using a ULA Ohm. This is in the Robic. The only modification I've done to the bag is the side compression straps. I've replaced those with shock cord on either side. Let's go through the side pockets first. On the right-hand side of the bag is where I'm gonna be carrying my water. I've got a 750 ml and a 1 liter smart bottle. Depending on the length of the trip, I may carry 2 1-liter smart bottles, but that's probably what I'm going to be going with for my water carry. And on the other side, I've got my little foldable sit pad from Garage Grown Gear, as well as my cook set. It's a Toaks 550 pot with a Dyneema stuff sack, a Toaks titanium spork, the BRS 3000 stove. As well, I'll be carrying a fuel can in here. It's got my Bic Mini lighter and a little pack towel that I use as a pot grabber inside. This is the little extra aluminum pole for my tarp tent. I only carry one trekking pole, so having this little aluminum pole that I can use to set up my tent is really, really important to me. There's a bunch more gear that I carry on the outside of my bag in this nice stretchy mesh pocket. In there, I'll have my water filter. I'm going back to the Katadyn Be Free. I've also got my first aid kit in that side pocket. I've also got a little baggie that's gonna have my sunscreen and my bug spray in there. I've got my little toiletry kit that's got my toothpaste tabs, my little mini toothbrush, as well as a little bit of hand sanitizer and some lip chap. I've got my poop kit. This will have my Deuce of Spades trowel. It's got my little 10-gram knife from Renegade Outdoors. It's gonna have some toilet paper, some wet wipes, and it's in one of those custom EcoPack stuff sacks from Hilltop Packs. And the last thing in the outside stretchy mesh pocket are my tent stakes. I'm using the Sonic stakes from Z-Packs. So that covers everything that's on the outside of the pack. Let's pop it open and tear through everything that I've got on the inside of the bag. First thing that's gonna be at the top of my bag, and this may go in the outside pocket, just kind of depends on the day and how I feel like packing my bag that day. But I've got my Frog Togs UL2 rain jacket. And underneath that, you'll find my food bag. This is an Ursack Major XL, as well as an OpSack inside there for the little scent-proof edition. And then if you look down on my bag, you're gonna see my trash compactor bag, and that's where I've got all the gear inside that I wanna keep dry. So that's gonna account for my shelter system, my top quilt, my sleeping pad. And I say sleeping pad because this is a ground setup. I know I'm primarily a hammock camper, but I found it a lot easier to get to ultralight with my ground setup as opposed to my hammock setup. But I do intend on doing everything I can to get to an ultralight loadout with my hammock setup. With the trips I have coming up this year, hammocks just aren't gonna be an option. So I thought we may as well go with my ground setup first. I've got my electronics set up. Now this is just my battery banks, a couple charging cords, and my headlamp inside one of the dual pocket Hilltops gadget bags. This is a custom printed one with a picture of my dog Remy on here. Now the next piece of gear I'm going to pull out of my bag is probably one of the most significant changes that I made to my loadout, and this is one that really helped me shave a bunch of weight and get me down to under that 10-pound ultralight limit. This is my Tarptent Protrail Lithium. This is a Dyneema tent. I went with this tent in particular because it's got enough floor space on the inside that my dog Wanda and I can both sleep comfortably inside this shelter. Next thing I'm gonna pull out is my insulation. This is my Ghost Whisperer puffy jacket. I've had this for a number of years. This is one of those pieces of gear that I've looked at upgrading and I can't bring myself to change it out. It's just one of the best ultralight jackets you can get on the market. Like I said, I've had this for a number of years. I absolutely freaking love my Ghost Whisperer. And along with my Ghost Whisperer is my spare clothes. In here, I've got my fleece sleeping pants, a change of underwear, a change of socks, an extra shirt, and I've got my tights in here. For my sleeping pad, I've got a Nemo Tensor insulated. This is the mummy shaped sleeping pad. Insanely comfortable, very, very warm pad. Yeah, it is a little bit pricey, but one of those pieces of gear that I think is well worth the investment if you're looking into it. And last but not least, the last piece of gear that I'm gonna pull out of my bag, my beloved trusty UGQ Bandit 20-degree top quilt. This quilt I've had for a number of years. It's been through the ringer. I've got a couple holes in it and a couple patches of tenacious tape on there. Very, very warm quilt. This has gotten me down well below the listed temperature rating. Another one of those pieces of gear that is well worth the investment if you're looking into it. Now, as I dig through my pack, you may find yourself wondering, you know, where's all of Wanda's gear, Matty? You backpack with Wanda all the time. Now, this video was just to kind of showcase my gear and sort of if I was going off on my own without her, how I would get to an ultralight loadout. Backpacking with Wanda is just not possible to get to an ultralight loadout. But if you guys are interested in seeing a video of Wanda's gear and kind of what she'll be carrying, I do plan on doing an updated version of that, so stay tuned to the channel. Now, any of the gear that I've talked about in this video, there will be links in the description box down below where you can check it out. But if you guys have any questions about anything I've shown today, if you guys want any more information on the gear, or if you want to know whether I've shot any other videos on this gear, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to help you guys out. And if you guys are interested in sort of what some of my past gear loadouts have been, I'll pop a couple of those here and here. So check those out when you're done with this video. As always, guys, I'm Matty. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.